Okay, I thought I would spend a little time on stretching. This might be one of the more unusually longer videos, but basically from a stretching standpoint, it's very important. My belief is always that most people with issues with lower back, my belief is that it's due to essentially, especially two particular items: the hamstring, and even more importantly, the hip flexors. Because the hip flexors, the more your motion here, the more stable your pelvis bone is, because it's one solid piece, rather than trying to twist and turn, because the pelvis, because being one solid piece of bone, the only thing that can give are the little muscles that are back here in the lower back. And that's 9 times out of 10 one of the real issues with lower back problems, is that lack of flexibility. So I just wanted to take a moment and just run through a couple of particular items that you can do to help stretch out your hammies and your hips. And the first is going to take a little wider than shoulder width spread with our feet. Now the most important part here is we want our toes forward. We don't want them out. We want them always pointing forward. And I would suggest when you're first getting started out, if you can, try to do anywhere from 12 to 25 repetitions of these. And I'm going to run through the general basics of them, and then also run through a couple of suggestions I have when doing them. So where we're going to start from is we're wide, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to let our body relax over our toes. Now while we're doing that, we're not going to let our knees bend. We want them locked. So people ask, well, how far should I go down? Nature will tell you, we're not forcing anything. If bending over, that's as far as you can go, that's fine. If you can go further, fine. But you're going to hold that. And I've always had the belief that in doing stretches, you need to give about 20, 30 seconds of a relaxing hold through a stretch, because you have to give it time to give. So working through, we just start out with this for 30 seconds. Now, when coming back up, the other key element I always recommend is never try to do a quick pop-up. Like you'll see some that'll go down and pop right up. The only problem with that is you can get lightheaded. And we're in a stretch, we're not in a race. So in coming up, I want you to feel as though every vertebrae is bending and bringing you back up. So if I'm going down like this, I want to come up very slowly and back into my position like that. So that's one, is just working a drop. And you can do, again, I've always said the magic number's 3 for so much, in that if you can do 3 sets or however you want to play them out, trust your body and breathe through. Because the one thing with stretching is it's the complete opposite of what we normally do when we work out. When we work out, we stress. That's the idea. Here, as we begin to feel some discomfort, this is where, rather than crunching through it, where we need to breathe and relax through it. Let the body relax through. That's really what the stretch is all about. So, from the drop over, then once we've done that, then the next step is we're just going to go down, still keeping our knees straight and our toes straight. We're going to come down straight in the middle and reach for between where our toes are at. Only going down as far as you can go without letting your knees unlock. So again, 12 to 25 of those in repetition. And then the next is you're going to go for the arch. So we're going to go roll down and we're going to just reach like that. So the other thing is, I don't need you coming up and down. All I want you to do is just stay down and pulsate those 12 to 25. So if I'm doing my arches, I'm down, this is what I'm doing. And I'm breathing through the whole thing. Again, 12 to 25 of those. Next, followed by reaching behind toward the heels. Back in, and again, just pulsating off of it. Now the next thing is we're going to take our thumbnails. I'm going to use my left hand and I'm going to go to my right pinky toe. My toes always have to stay straight. I'm keeping this leg straight. This can bend if it wants to, but I'm going to twist and I'm going to reach down as far as I can toward that pinky toe, and I'm going to bob it 12 to 25 times. Obviously, then we're going to do the other side. And what we've done is now we're starting to get into where we're starting to feel it. We're feeling it through our legs, but we got to get into our hips. So what I recommend for hips is to start with, you're just going to do rocking from one side to the other, toes pointed straight, one side to the other, again 12 to 25 times. You'll start to feel it, stretching it out there. Then once you've done that, you can drop down, put your feet together, and now that your feet are together, you're going to grab your toes, you're going to bob your legs down, and then let them rest for 30 seconds. Each of those 30 seconds. Then the next step is you're just going to bring your toes up to you, and you're going to bend your head forward into your toes. And you're just going to hold that for 30 seconds, followed by bobbing it for 30. Then the next step you're going to take is you're actually going to take your foot, one foot behind, I'll use this one, and you're going to drop it underneath you, and you're going to stretch it out. That's also going to get into your quad. So, again, we've worked on the hammy, we've got the quad. Both of those can restrict your hip movement. So we want to bob through that. Now before we go to the other one, the other leg, we're going to take that same foot, cross it over. Now that it's crossed over, we're going to raise it up. We're going to reach, since this is my right leg, my right arm is going between the legs. I'm going to grab my left. Now from here, I'm going to take my right elbow and I'm going to push my right knee out, but at the same time, I'm going to try to bring my left knee into my face. So I'm doing both. Again, give it 30 seconds or so while you work through it. Once you've done that, now we switch to the other. Here, doing that stretch, crossing over between, now with the left, and then pulling up. And I think if you try those particular stretches, I think you're going to find that it's going to work tremendously in helping out with all the other mechanics that you're going to be doing with the workouts that you're involved in. Again, the one thing about stretching is it's the opposite. Whenever you begin to feel discomfort, rather than grimacing, you relax and breathe. The other thing is it's one of those things that you need to do almost on a daily basis, because most of us through age, if we don't stretch enough, everything gets stiff. Tendons tighten, everything tightens up. So if we just do a stretch sporadically and not with a regular commitment, it's been living in a tight state. So once you stretch it, initially it's going to feel good, but its next reaction is going to be going back to that tight state. The only way to change that is by making its memory begin to accept the fact that it's loosening. So I hope that stretching helped out for you. Thanks.